So it was quite a torturous process to get that meeting scheduled for.
Turning it over to the rec department Wednesday. Make sure Tyler is there.
Oh,
Which meeting was this?
With Marvin.
Oh,
Marvin Weinberg,
Yeah,
about
I think it was
trail stuff.
trail stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. No, we've done
He's got a
some
great idea and he's made some great
contacts and he wants to talk to us
Wants to
about it,
talk
but
to us.
it was like herding cats to get all the
Get all the
parties
together.
involved.
Yeah.
You're all set, Martha.
All right. Thank you very much.
Brooke just
And there's
entered.
Brooke. Brooke just came in. So let's just give Mike a moment while he takes his. Hey, Brooke. Good morning.
Good to see you.
I saw Brooke last Thursday
Yes.
and I didn't realize she didn't even have a cast on. She's walking along with a crutch and yeah, doing it all.
Yep, I got in a little bit of trouble for that, not wearing my
Yes,
compression
yes.
socks.
You did?
Well, I should have been wearing, I now have this compression sock to keep swelling down, but when I'm on my feet for a couple of hours, it's really swollen and the doctor gave me a talking to.
Oh, well, doctors are there to do that.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to call our meeting to order at 10 o'clock. You can watch this meeting live on YouTube. We are recording it, so you can also watch it afterwards if you're not with us today. It doesn't look like we have any privilege of the floor. Financial reports, Mark.
Yeah, so just the overall revenue and expenditure report is the first thing on our list. Departments are doing very well. We'll talk in detail about the revenues in just a minute. Another agenda item for the MS 434. Expenditures are looking good. We're 67% through the year, 66% spent budget wise, but that also includes debt service payments almost in full at this point in time. So
Okay,
we're doing okay.
okay. All right.
And there was one interest payment that I had in next year that was actually this year, and that's why we're over on the revenue side. So,
Okay,
I mean, on the interest
on
side.
the interest side. Okay. Any other questions about the financials?
No, I think we'll get to it later because
The
when we
revenues.
get to the new form, we're adjusting some numbers, correct?
Yes, correct.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Minutes review and approval, July 14th and August 11th were sent to us ahead of time for review, and I think Sharon has already incorporated those changes. Does anybody have any other changes they want to make?
Nope.
Okay, can I have a motion to approve those two sets of minutes, please?
I'll make that motion.
Second,
I will second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Great. Okay, department head reports. Let's go ahead and hear the cheerful summer camp program report.
Well, we did really well this summer. The numbers, I think, which you got in the packet show that how well we did, and it was very consistent this year. So we're really happy with that. All of our staff and Sandra did an awesome job, and just feeling really good about keeping everyone safe for another summer.
Okay,
Yeah, it was a record-setting summer.
for all the camp
Camper-
programs.
Yeah,
I remember back at the beginning, we were concerned that there might be a little competition because the ski area was starting one, but it was like everybody had waiting lists.
yeah,
Yeah,
it was awesome.
Yeah.
Very good
I
summer.
think what
And-
a couple of things
Yeah.
that was so great. We got the registration out in March, which is what we've been doing. I think that works really well because people are planning that time for their kids for the whole summer. So that was really nice. And then also we implemented the CIT program this summer, really organized it, and that was very successful. So we had 4 to 6 CITs every week. They could sign up for that as a program. So they're technically campers, but they're trying to learn how to be a counselor. And so that was something that, we will definitely carry on from this point forward.
Okay, so that's CIT is counselor in training.
Oh, yes, that's counselor training, and that would be for our 13 and 14-year-olds who, some of them also do Summit, but some don't want to do Summit. Some just want to go straight to working. So that's the fastest route.
Okay, great.
And I think it's also important to point out that this is 7 weeks instead of our traditional 8 or more weeks, and still had the very high numbers. And in talking to Brooke, I don't think that we're going to be able to sustain an 8-week program because of the scheduling with the school and the fact that they have to get more of the building ready for that first day of school, given their high numbers.
Right.
So I think we're going to be limited to the 7-week program. It's also a staffing issue because
Do you have
kids,
school numbers, by the way?
we do. We do have those, I think 55, 56. Yeah.
A lot of people are asking around town.
Yeah, 55.
And
So
that doesn't include the high school, right?
that's correct.
That's another
There's 4. Another
5, 3,
There was one that.
Oh, one dropped off. I'm sorry.
4, 3, okay.
Yeah, so just to reiterate what Mark was saying is that we've been working really hard for several years trying to fine tune the camp weeks and staffing, because staff always leaves in mid-August, and the numbers which drop off severely after that. And it seems like we kind of figured it out this summer with our consistency of the same amount of kids from week to week, and then the staff goes, and it just seemed to work out really well. And the school, can get in there and clean. And sometimes Wiley has to do the floors before school starts. So anyway, it was a great summer. And I also wanted to add that our ice cream socials and bingo nights were, enormous, the biggest they've been in the 6 years I've been here. So, people were ready to have fun, and it was a great summer.
Okay.
Brooke, since today is the first day of school, what arrangements are being made or have been made for residents or others who would like to stop by the rec department to take advantage of any services you offer?
Well, right now, we're focusing mainly on the after-school programs. We don't have anything happening during the school day. I don't think that that's going to be in the cards, but
Is it because of the school's request to you?
Because I've been out for a little while, I haven't been able to go to the school board meetings or anything, but that is how it has been with COVID as an issue, and also the school biggers. They're in the gym way more frequently than they used to be. So we don't have the space.
To offer adult programming during school time. That's the question.
Right. So it's definitely going to limit that significantly.
And also ask me about,
We are doing the cycling class. Tyler is going to be teaching the cycling class, which can happen before school hours. And there's also a boot camp happening on Monday and Friday mornings before school hours that we're sort of, helping to have happen. So there are a couple of things that we're offering, and that's been very successful all summer. I'm not sure if you've talked to anyone who's doing it, but there's a lot of people from the Valley that are doing that boot camp. So in terms of getting into the gymnasium, that is a significant challenge.
about just getting, my question also had to do with just access to the desk. If people wanted to come in and say, buy a parking permit.
Yeah, so I think we figured that out at the end of last year, where we were going to have the kids go out of the building through the cafeteria instead of coming out into the lobby, so that we could open the lobby to guests. So I would just need to confirm with Gail to make sure that that is what the plan is again this year, and I can do that.
So are you, to piggyback onto your question, are you staffing the desk during the day, during the school hours where the townspeople can't have access to the building?
Nope, we are managing the desk between Sandra, Tyler, and myself. And
No. I said, are you staffing it during the hours? How many hours are you paying someone to be at that desk when no one can get in to get to it?
No.
Okay, but you do have staff in the building during the 40-hour week.
Absolutely.
All right, and what are they doing if they're not doing customer service stuff? And we're in this time of season.
Oh, are you talking about Sandra, Tyler, and me?
Yes,
Yeah, just getting an idea.
Yeah, we're doing a lot. We're getting ready for our after-school programs. We're planning those. We're, people come in for that.
Okay.
We're organizing.
When do after-school programs start?
They start, I think some start next week and then some start the week after that.
Do you have a good turnout for the after-school programs?
Yep,
Full.
our K through, our first through third grade one is full. And then we
Okay.
have some signing up for our culinary. We have a culinary club and then also a mountain
Okay,
biking
I
club.
just wondered what was going on with
It's
the building
full.
being closed.
It's
Oh,
full.
yeah. Yeah,
And
our focus really switches to after school at this point. And then we also have the boat operation still happening, as well as we're planning the fall foliage race. That's a lot of planning. So, we come right out of summer and on to the next thing.
And also the PTA, Rob Dean came into my office and talked to me, and the PTA is meeting this week, early this week. And he's going to get additional, if there's additional interest in after-school programming, he will share that with us after the PTA meeting. So
And
right now, it's just, like she said, first through third grade, and that program is full.
But Brooke, you're gonna find out if anyone wanting to use your services can come in the building. Presumably, they will have to wear a mask, since that is the school's policy that they agreed to at the last school board meeting for the
We're
school,
assuming that.
school property. But I
Yes.
think residents will want to know if the door is going to be locked or if
Yeah,
they're going to be able to
Right.
access,
And if they're gonna have programming.
well, the programming too, but you know how people kind of drop in, I want to buy a
Yeah,
guy.
but
or
also
a-
people who are used to doing different things and wondering
Right.
when open gym's coming
Yeah,
back
yeah,
and this other
yeah.
stuff. We
Yeah,
need
I
to
think
let
it's,
people-
we just need a reminder of what happened last year because of COVID. That is
It's
still
really
continuing.
continuing.
And so I think we need to
And I
reemphasize.
think,
that,
and I
yeah.
think it is important that I don't see our drop in, go into the gym and do whatever you
Right.
want, or pick up pickleball games or
Right.
whatever.
Yeah.
I don't see those being available because with the school numbers the way they are, they're just, we
Yeah,
don't.
They
have
can
access.
play pickleball outside.
They can play pickleball outside.
Yeah.
Yeah, just bring a
Wow.
shovel for February.
Yeah,
Wow.
exactly.
But no,
Yeah, but I think it's important.
I think we need to let
Yeah.
people
Get the
know
word out.
that we're
Yeah.
still in this state and
Yes,
this is why it's
exactly.
going in, because I don't think we should stress the school numbers. I think you go the school numbers and COVID.
Yeah,
Right.
Because if we stress the school numbers, we're gonna get into that argument again as to the recreation department just catering to the kids and not to the adults. You remember when we had that a few years ago?
yeah, I do.
Yeah,
but
I don't want to open the door to revisit that.
Well, and COVID certainly has some limitations. But I also think that when we come out of COVID, that is a conversation we're
Oh,
gonna
yeah.
have to have, because I don't see us having our programming.
Well, we've got to
Like we
prepare
had
people
it
for that
in
and get it,
19
but as of now, we are in this and that's our explanation for now.
Right.
Okay,
Right.
I think we also have other things going on for adults, like we have the cellar hole tours, we have walking history tours, where we are putting other things out for the adults. So the only reason that I don't think that argument about catering to the kids is really valid because of COVID, like you said, Mike, but also because of the school numbers. I mean, that is basically, we've never had these numbers before where they're in and out of the gym so frequently. It's changed.
No, I get it, but I see the perception being there.
well, I think we need to stress our outdoor programs and
Right.
things like the Skyline Loop that they've just designed, and the outdoor things that Brooke just talked about, that's gonna be where we're gonna have to focus our daily weekday adult programming.
Mhm.
It's gonna have to be outside, at least for right now,
Right,
or
yeah.
post-school, trying to work it in, but again, we're gonna have after-school programming and things.
I
like
think
that.
just, I think this needs to be explained
Yeah,
in
it's just
various
communicating
venues.
these things before
Right.
the
Yeah,
bad parts come out and we're
Right.
coming from a defensive position
Right.
as opposed to being offensive with our communication and getting information. out.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, there's the rec department website, there's the town website, we put some of this,
Facebook
there's
pages.
Facebook, there's Wigwag, we can write a little article for the, I guess, the October issue.
Yeah.
As to what we're looking at, what the rec department is looking at for servicing.
Yeah.
For their programs and
Yeah.
that would help
So-
people
So
understand.
just to make sure that I understand, because we talked around an issue a bit, during the week,
Yes,
the lobby is open to anyone.
we're gonna verify. She
Gonna
needs to
verify
verify
that.
with Gail.
Okay.
I'm 99% sure, Margaret.
Okay, but probably if somebody comes into the lobby because it's part of the school facility overall, they're gonna need a mask.
Mhm.
But we're hoping to be able to make it available to anybody that wants
For
to
whatever
come in.
walk-in service.
Right,
They
right.
would like.
But most of the adult programs are going to continue to be outside programs, which I, as
Except
an
for
adult,
cycling.
basically prefer at this time anyway, so.
Right. But except, like she said, except for the cycling program, things that we're doing
Is
prior
cycling,
to
is
school.
cycling in the gym?
It's in the
Yes.
gym.
And they're
prior
able to
school.
clean up afterwards to, okay.
Yep, it
well,
happens before school starts.
Okay, okay.
More power.
As
to
long
them.
as there's demand. I mean, that's one of the programs that people have really, requested over the years. And now that
Yeah.
Tyler is here and he's an expert at that, it's
Yeah.
for us to offer.
Okay, great. All righty, anything else from rec department, Brooke?
I just wanted to make mention about the Skyline Loop, which is nearing completion. If you're not aware, that's a hiking loop that we've sort of linked together existing trails, and we put it into like a very nice map and marketing little brochure for somebody to have to go do this challenge, which is 34 miles. And it includes, the 5 4,000 footers, and it's really, really awesome. So we're sending that to print. And that's something that, we're hoping to give people all of these things to do that are interested in hiking. We continue to sell the guidebooks and the new map. And that's one thing that we're really excited for. The other thing is we have a family chalk festival. If you remember, we initiated this last year over Columbus Day weekend. And it was because we're trying to do things outside for, in response to COVID. And this year we're moving it to Labor Day weekend, and we're going to add in a inflatable, party to that because we weren't able to do that for 4th of July. So that will happen this coming weekend. And then, of course, the fall foliage race, which I've mentioned, we will be doing that on, I believe it's the 10th this year, Sunday the 10th. So that registration is open, and we're limiting it at this time to 100 participants for the adult 5K, and I think 65 participants for the kids fun run, just because we want to see how things with COVID kind of unfold over the next month, and we'll open it up to more people if we feel good about that.
Okay. Sounds good. All righty, let's get on to Department of Public Safety, who are now here.
We're here.
What do you have to say,
Sorry,
guys?
we had First day of school and broken
Yes.
doors, and that's where.
Broken doors?
Hey, I like
It
your,
was one of the bay doors, the bolts broke, so
Ah.
we couldn't, the door wasn't functioning.
Yeah.
We like to make sure that works, so we can actually pull.
I like your, I like the new sign out there.
Yeah,
Slowed me down from 28 to 25, it was blinking at me. It's kind of hard, but.
I think it was
Yeah.
a nice debut, nice for morning of first day of school to kind of debut the trailer out there, so.
Yeah,
We'll continue to have that out there during the week. We can modify it so it says different things and does different things based on speed, different speeds and stuff, but we managed to get it all lettered up and registered. It's all ready to go.
Okay.
And we'll be sensitive to throughout the year, we get complaints from people about people traveling too fast on roads, and that's just an easy way to put that out there and try to help slow people down too.
Great.
Will that be a constant presence, say, on Valley Road? Now that it's registered, we just move it around, say, beginning of the school day?
Yeah, we can move it around,
Bye.
especially this week, you know,
Yeah.
being, we certainly want to
Long
remind
weekend.
folks, you know, that
Yeah.
school's open. I certainly do think it will be. Excuse me, as, you know, the resort opens, the mountain opens, you know, having it out on the weekends, for our, you know, day trippers and stuff, especially Triple I Road, Valley Road. We'll move it around wherever we think, or if you have a recommendation of where you would like to see it, we'll certainly entertain that.
I think just the close-in roads, Valley Road, Snowsbrook.
Yep.
The two big ones I noticed. more
The
than anything
straightaway,
else. The straight,
straightaway by the golf courses.
yeah,
Also, when the kids come back to the academy, I like to see it on that road.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So they're instructed once they get here. That can be kind of.
I'm gonna try to put out a tip, I'm trying to work with tip, but send something out, an alert saying to residents to, if you have an idea of where you want it, we get some,
Yeah.
noon peak, we'll put it out there.
Yeah.
So if they get any like suggestions on where they want it, if they want it on their road or by their house, we'll probably put it out there.
Mhm.
I'm sorry, was this a solar powered or the battery?
It has batteries, but it's solar
It's solar, okay.
charged. We can plug it in and charge it. So if it is in storage for a while, we can charge it up before we put it out. But it has the capacity. It seems to, it's been charging, just works.
Just solar.
Yep, mostly just off of solar since we've had it.
Nice.
You got our monthly statistics for the month. We had about another extra 13 police calls over the weekend. One arrest. But other than that, if there's any questions on any of that.
What about lodges? Lodge activity in lodges with people after weddings and as we get in the hockey season.
We've been doing, so some of the noise complaints that you're seeing on there are black bear hockey related, you know, folks outside in the evenings. And some of the crews were older groups, weren't they?
Right.
Yeah, the last hockey groups with the older kids too.
Out in the parking lot,
Parking lot,
That's
hanging out, parking
Yeah.
lot, barbecues, you know.
yeah, they have that barbecue out there.
Yeah.
And the management of lodge is aware of this as an issue. Well, one lodge has management, one.
The ones that are there, yeah.
Yeah.
The ones that are there,
and
they're fielding complaints from
they're-
their permanent residents,
Right.
you know, on these issues, and then they're and calling us. We're getting a lot of calls through the tip line. We're really trying to encourage people to call us. That's not an appropriate use of the tip line. That if you would like the police to respond to a call, that they should be calling our dispatch or calling 911.
How about something in the next water bill? You know, and we can
Yeah.
talk about the new speed sign being so happy it's so can be moved.
Yeah.
And put in that kind of stuff.
Sure.
Yep.
Sure. You know, Pat sent out a notice, kind of like a, here's what the tip line should be used for,
Yeah.
and this is what it shouldn't be used for. And we're still continuing. I think last night they got a call for a domestic on the tip line, but nobody called us
At
Yeah.
1:30 in the morning.
at 1:30 in the morning.
They're sending a text message and it's like.
Yeah. Well, no, people have, I think people need to be educated. When you hear the tip, hear it's a tip line, you think there's
Yeah,
someone sitting at that
Yeah.
desk ready to just run out once that tip comes in.
yeah, there's gotta be some kind of red line or understanding. I had one person ask me how they report people watering their lawns.
Yeah.
And I said, I think you could use the tip line for
Tip line,
that.
that would
So I got that right,
be perfect.
okay.
That would be perfect.
That's a great,
Right, it's non-emergent,
yeah,
it's.
non-emergent. You're
it's-
just going to give us some information.
Right,
That's
okay.
great.
I can understand domestic abuse being
Yeah, that's
a little,
the other
little
end of
off, but
Yeah.
noise, yeah, that's.
Noise complaints,
that's a little-
domestics, something that you need the police to show up, like, we got one for bears breaking into cars at the campground at
Ooh.
2:30 in the morning.
Huh.
Not a good use of the tip line.
So it's not real time. You
It's
don't-
probably someone who really didn't like that band.
Yeah.
Well, it's real time, but it only comes over as a text message. So I sent out an alert last week that detailed, it is
Yeah.
only a text message.
Yeah.
Please call.
I think the public really needs the water and sewer bill in
Yeah.
big letters.
Well, I'm also trying to do something today with tip to have it, so if between 10 PM and 6 AM, if you send a tip, it's gonna give you an automated response immediately that says, please call the police.
Oh,
now."
perfect.
Yeah, I mean, that would be a good
That's
I tried
backstop.
to do that
Yeah.
this morning and I can't actually do it, so I sent
Yeah.
it to the rep saying this is what I wanna do today. Because
Great.
again,
That's a
too
good
many
idea.
after 11 o'clock at night.
Yeah, because it's a text world. I mean, people, first thing they do is start
Exactly.
instead of calling.
Especially for domestics, you can't text. anything.
Yeah, that seems a bit.
I'd just like to point out that these service calls, they total 143 with this weekend.
Mm.
With those 13, that's a busy month.
Yeah.
Well over what,
We had a lot of
closing in on-
people here this month.
What are
Closing in
the-
on 1,500 calls per year for the
Yeah.
public safety
Are
department.
we seeing a lot of
That's-
ambulance calls or medical, are a lot of those 143 medicals?
Right now, 13 of them are medical.
Oh,
There's
They're
there's
the
a
last
Yeah.
page.
separate
There
page
was a
there for
plus
the.
three.
medical
oh, this page here.
And, oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, this just
16.
goes up to the 20,
16.
this just goes up to the
Yeah, no, there were
27.
3 more this
Since-
weekend, so 16 of the 143.
Yeah.
were-
'Cause just during this period, it looked like you guys were dealing with 5 calls, incidents, events
Just
a day,
Every day. Yeah.
roughly.
Roughly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was worse this weekend is what you're saying. It was busier, excuse me, let me
It
rephrase
was-
that.
It was busy.
Yeah.
It was a
Yeah.
busy week.
I mean, 5 calls, depending on what it is, especially if
Yeah,
they're
I mean, they're-
domestic or something like that,
Right.
can be a pretty
Yeah,
big
we were
day
tied up
for
with
2
one guy
guys.
from 1 o'clock till, I think he sat in our cell all night long till 7, and he wasn't attached to a hotel or anything, so it was just a second home, but he ended up staying the night for with us.
So,
So that's 6
it's
hours
busy.
we're stuck with the guy.
Yeah,
Someone out has to be here
Yeah.
when you have someone in the
Yeah.
cell.
Yeah.
Could I just ask a basic knowledge question? What does approved mean? I think I understand juvenile and domestic. This is in the incident status report. There's 3 codes, A, J, and D.
Where would you be looking, Rich? On
Uh,
the page?
Incident status
That'd be
report.
Arrest, juvenile,
Juvenile or
Domestic.
Okay, it says approved and
might be domestic related.
oh yeah, it is domestic related, yeah.
Domestic
So the A is the arrest, the J is juvenile, and the D is
Approved
domestic
for
related.
arrest.
approved for arrest.
Yeah, it's just, is it an arrest or not? So if it's an N, it will say, no, that wasn't an arrest. If it's
Okay.
an arrest, it will say it'll be a Y next to it.
And there's a backup sheet that's another 13 pages that I
Right.
didn't put in your
Yeah.
packet. That if you want to see the detail like this case right here,
We
there's
can
a
contact you.
short blurb, come in. and
Sure.
I can show you that, but I didn't want to make your packet.
No, I just wasn't sure what
Those
was
are only gonna be
approved.
a Y or an N, so it's a yes or a no.
Right, I get what it
Yeah.
means now. So approved is, you're talking about arrests.
Yeah, it's just an arrest.
Yes, or a Y or N.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
okay.
There is a letter from the Lakes Region Mutual Fire Aid. Apparently, our Lakes Region is our dispatch center for all fire and EMS calls. They serve 32 towns,
35.
35 towns across the Lakes Region, including us. The land that they're sitting on is state-owned land. It was the old Laconia prison. The building that they're in, they lease from the state for their operations. Apparently, the state has made some recent moves to sell that property. And so Lakes Region, and in their lease, they would have 18 months to move out, which the infrastructure that's currently there, it would not be feasible for them to be able to move within 18 months if necessary. So they're in negotiations with the state. They've sent letters to every single town.
Yeah, and I drafted a letter for your consideration
Yeah,
to respond.
Yep,
If you
and
like.
looking for support in coming to some sort of resolution with the state that would benefit both parties, and seeing if they were to build their own, their estimates would be somewhere around $7 million
If they could find someplace
if
to
they
put
can
it.
find some place to go. And that would reflect on all the towns, and so we certainly don't agree that that's a good course of action for them either.
For their financing, Dave, is it, how are they financed, I guess is the.
We
So-
pay.
Right,
Every
every
town-
member
so
pays
There's a certain percentage, so every town gets a flat fee,
right,
and then a percentage is call based.
I see.
The flat fee is
Yeah.
based on a share by valuation, so that part of the formula.
And that's in
That's in the
the-
formula.
the formula, but in the budget, for the.
They come
safety.
up with a budget,
Right,
then you
it's
get
in,
a flat fee, and then once that's calculated, then it's by call.
Yeah.
Number of calls, percentage of calls.
I see, and that's reflected in our budget document.
That's in our budget document. It's in the fire and the EMS budgets.
Okay,
We pay them for dispatch services. on an
got
annual
it.
basis. So we're just looking, they're looking for support. I certainly would recommend, supporting them, talking to, whether they're talking to, everyone they can talk to, the representatives, the executive council, the governor himself, and trying to come up with some sort of.
Yeah, this is not a good idea.
now, is this a quasi-governmental organization or?
It is, it's statutory, cooperative mutual aid association, so it is controlled under state RSAs.
RSAs?
So even if the state had another place for them to go, it would still cost millions
Oh,
of dollars
right.
for them to move, right?
It would be, and I think there may be some considerations there because the Laconia office of 911 is on their campus,
Yeah.
is the next building
Mhm.
right next to Lakes Region. Excuse me, and they share a lot of those resources.
Mhm.
I mean, it just seemed from the email that the state really didn't give Lakes Region much of an advance notice. I mean, they kind of showed up and started talking about, oh, we're gonna sell this property, there hadn't been very effective communication from what I
That was
could
even on
tell.
the agenda, right?
And that's right, so we're just trying to get the state to think about
Right.
what they're doing.
Presumably any relocation costs, they're gonna come to Waterville Valley for,
Right.
Well, we
They're
would
gonna come
push-
to all of
they're-
all
all
the
the
communities that
participants.
support it, yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
but then I think there's an argument for an unfunded mandate if the state were to do that. And it is against our constitution to do an unfunded mandate. So I think an argument could be made that they would have to provide us with assistance in doing that. But I don't know. We'll see.
it's all good background, thank you.
And it seems like they caught whiff of it. There was a RFP put out.
Right, an RFP went out.
Really?
And
Yeah.
and that's.
And
how
they didn't even know?
They didn't
Yeah,
know.
and so that's how they.
That's what that email.
Yeah,
In your
that's-
packet was about.
Yeah.
Was totally out of the blue.
Yeah.
An RFP for,
A request for proposal for the sale of the
Purchase.
property for someone to purchase the property. The state sent it out.
So it's something for us certainly to watch. Certainly, letter supporting any
Yeah, I-
kind of negotiations that will.
I think a good first step is this letter. If you want me to finalize it, any
Right.
different wording, we can talk about it. But
right,
I think also if you know any of these people or other representatives who aren't necessarily ours, reaching out to them and just telling them, this is not a good idea.
Yeah.
So. Anything else, Dave?
I don't think so. Just so you know, coming up this weekend, Friday night, you have approved an extension to the noise ordinance by an hour for one of the weddings. So just so you guys may or may not have remembered that, but just so you know that that's coming up. We'll be participating in the, Labor Day activities at Town Square on Sunday with the duck race and getting to know the valley, that sort of thing. We have pump testing on the 1st, so we'll be at the pond, pump testing all the trucks. And I believe there is fireworks this weekend also. Other than that, I don't think I have anything.
Jim?
Yes. Apologize for being tardy. My pickup truck was doing weird things on its own. We have an
Possessed.
electrical issue with it, so. But at any rate, you probably have seen the playground equipment was delivered. I have not yet been notified about the installation of that equipment. We're waiting to hear for that. And other than that, things are going quite well. We may have some news for you about a potential hire.
Yeah, that'll be not public
That,
to talk to you.
Mhm.
yeah, and other than that, things are going well.
Contractors start date.
Contract,
For
the
the
Moose Run
intersection.
intersection will be starting on the 13th.
Do
Monday.
the owners of Moose Run know this?
I do not
I
know if
would-
all of them know about it
Okay,
as of yet.
We'll
So-
get a message.
Talk to the association. And that's gonna run for
I
2
do
weeks
know that I
roughly.
have had conversations with several.
Right.
yes, but if you haven't had them with the right people, we'll hear about it.
And that's still supposed to end on the 30th?
Correct. Yep. I believe that's what is in the contract.
9:13 to 9:30.
2 weeks.
And I don't expect we'll have any issues. It's not that big of a project. It shouldn't take that long. There'll be a little bit of, one way, one lane, as we do one side at a time.
And the island is coming out.
The
right?
island is coming out,
Mhm.
and we have a place with 2 trees. So
There you go.
going down along the fairway along Boulder Path. So Craig's supposed to help us out with that.
Okay. Dave.
Dylan.
Oh. Dave, we talked to. Dylan.
Don't have much to report really. Everything is going well operational wise. Rainfall, as Mark had mentioned in the memo to you guys, we're 2 inches behind 19 and I'm about an inch behind 2020. And just month to date, August. So I think we're about 1.5 inches from 2020 year to date. But I don't see any large amounts of rainfall coming in the next couple of weeks. I mean, I forget what the projected rainfall was for today, and I think Wednesday we have, or Thursday we have some more coming in, but
Depends on Ida's track, I
Yeah.
think.
yeah,
National Weather Service, I think for today had less than a quarter of an
yeah,
inch.
Yeah,
so
they dropped it back.
it's nothing large by any means, so.
And where are we now on the scale?
I haven't seen that released yet. It's tomorrow. I
We're-
believe,
Yeah,
Tuesday.
tomorrow, I think they will release the new numbers, tomorrow or Wednesday, but, as of the end of July, we were right on the edge between normal and abnormally dry.
Okay.
So with, being behind again, where, we could slip into the abnormally dry
Mhm.
area.
When
again.
we originally put in the water things, we were in drought. were we
Minor
not?
drought.
We were
yes.
in minor drought,
next
were
level
we
up.
not?
The next level after abnormally dry. Yeah. So I really don't see long-term unless we get any sustained rain. It's really, these little bits of fluctuation don't really change the overall situation. I mean, looking at the river and
Particularly as
we
it
can
relates
see.
to groundwater, correct?
especially, yeah. I mean, our groundwater levels are sufficient right now at the two well sites.
Right.
But the two active well sites, but again, I think that can change in a couple of months without precipitation.
The noticeable thing being with July being so wet, typically you would see a lot of infiltration, even though we fixed some problems, you would still see infiltration in the sewer system. And there was hardly anything. So that's mostly because the groundwater is still so low, you know, it's nothing around the sewer, the pipes or the manholes or anything like that. Even with getting, I think we got 8 inches of rain in July, typically that would result in sustained stormwater coming into the system, and this never happened, so.
Mhm. So is your recommendation that we continue with the restriction, it's level 4 restriction, right?
Yes,
No washing your car.
no outdoor
watering.
private use.
Yeah, that there are some people who I think have automated sprinklers
they-
that come on.
and
I've seen a few around.
We're trying to identify those and make contact with them.
Yeah, because I don't know whether my neighbors on the corner had some, and I think just beyond the just out by the 8th tee box, I've seen them out there at that large home that is up there. Yeah, so you've seen that, right, Michael?
I have not. I have not been looking.
Well, when you walk, you see it, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the commercial accounts have been good working with us. They've tried to minimize their use. You know, the pools and
Right,
such.
right.
They're very conscientious when they ask us before they do anything.
Okay.
So,
All right, so we will
All right,
leave
back to
that.
Dylan, how's the experiment going?
So about a week and a half ago, we did have a slight change in the performance of it, but it's recovered. It's back down. So
All right, define a slight change.
so our ammonia numbers coming out of lagoon, we were seeing right around 2 milligrams per liter coming out. It bumped up to about 7.
Yeah.
And now it's back down to about 2.5.
Any reason?
We weren't able to, we went through, did a bunch of testing
Yeah.
on all different sorts of levels in the lagoons, and we couldn't really come up with anything other than just the strength of the wastewater coming through at that point in time, because it takes anywhere from 80 to 100 days from the time it enters the first lagoon.
Okay, when you, not to put you on the spot here,
No problem.
when you say strength of wastewater, is it the amount of contaminant, meaning
Yes,
maybe it could be the hotels using more water and where people are in residence there, as opposed to just water flush from, say, a restaurant,
right,
you know, dishwasher running.
exactly, or laundry. It could just
Yeah.
be, 2 months ago, we had a big surge of people here in town, and the strength of ammonia, the concentration was higher than normal.
Gotcha.
So that slug of water coming through the facility at that point in time would have been higher.
No,
in
I'm
concentration.
seeing it now, but is that something we're gonna need to really think about
Yeah.
going forward?
Absolutely.
If we're gonna bring
Is it
all
above,
these,
above the limit?
No. It-
just the cost and method of treating.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I
It
understand that.
No,
is going to be, variable based on what our water flow, what we can guess our water flow is going to be.
Right.
Are we gonna get, is it gonna be mostly say laundry, or is it gonna be mostly
Dishwasher
bathrooms or
versus
showers?
using bathrooms.
Right, so what Dylan was saying, the 2 milligrams versus 7 milligrams, it's just the amount that we had to treat.
Right,
So we have to bring it down at this time of year
Below
to 1,
Okay,
right? So
Got it.
we were very happy being at 2 because we only had to remove the 1,
right,
right? When it went up to 7, we had to remove 6.
right.
So it cost us a little bit more during the spike to
Right.
treat, right? You had to
Exactly.
treat longer,
I see.
more chemical.
Exactly. With that being said, though, and I don't remember if I mentioned this to you at the last elections meeting. We had a meeting with Hoyle Tanner, and at that point in time, I was able to go through and do some calculations. We have saved over $7,000 in chemical year to date, just with those changes that we've made.
Mhm.
So that's good.
And that's only a
It's very good.
3-month period,
Yes.
so, we
So-
could hopefully get into the tens of thousands of dollars of chemical.
Great. Just for the public, because the public asks me these
Sure.
questions all the time. Where are we with application for grant for the wastewater treatment building?
The wastewater treatment building is the number 3 priority project in the state of New Hampshire in the state revolving fund.
Okay,
We are only eligible for 2% grant under the SRF program. That's calculated based on our median household income and our sewer rates.
okay,
Okay. And we are also the number 3 priority project in the state for a planning grant, which is a 100% grant of $75,000. So right now, we are eligible for $575,000 in grant money through the state revolving fund. We have to spend the money. It's a reimbursement or loan forgiveness program. I did talk to the SRF administrator last week, and we increased those rates that they use to calculate the 2% number were prior to our increase. So, and it was also prior to the new census data coming out. I have not seen the median household income data for the town yet. But she did say that they would use the updated numbers from the census. So that 2% number could change and could go up. But right now, 575,000 is what we're eligible for
From the state.
from the state. And that will be recalculated after we finish the design work and finalize the budget. So as all of these numbers are based on the $25 million estimated cost. So as that number changes, the 2% number will change.
But once again, that $25 million for everyone at home is a pie in the sky number, because we don't know.
That's right, we don't know.
What
It's
what
our-
we're doing and where
it's
we're
our
gonna
general-
be. Just didn't want anyone freaking
no,
out
right.
thinking we've come up with a
No,
$25
no,
million
right.
plan.
That's correct.
Because we're still on hold, awaiting
still
the
on
feds
hold.
to
That's correct. We're waiting
pass
for
some
the EPA.
infrastructure.
But also to find out what
No.
we're gonna
Oh,
do as a
EPA.
plant.
Well,
Right.
EPA, right,
So the
this fall.
EPA permit, we
Right.
still need to get that
Yeah.
back finalized.
Right,
And we need to find out about the ARPA money.
right.
Right.
And so none of, this is just state revolving fund that we're talking about. So no federal money is in there yet.
But do
either.
we have an application for federal money as
We,
well?
we are on the list. Again, I don't know where on the priority list for the federal government we are, because it's all gonna be based on whatever gets passed. So,
Okay.
And that's been hung up and,
and that's
That's
been,
been
hung up.
hung
And
up.
it's, and the same thing with our
Continues to
road
be
fund.
hung up.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
As we
and,
can tell by the television ads we see all morning.
It's
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
and how about the roads? Because people always ask
Same
about the
thing.
roads, and I've said to them, we can't spend the money, because if we spend the money, we don't get the grant
That's
kind of thing.
correct. And,
So,
and so we are approved by the House Transportation Committee for our project for the $900,000. And actually, it's closer to $1 million grant on the roads. But yes, we cannot spend any money if we want to get that grant money. So we are in a holding pattern until the final decisions are made in Washington. But we are approved on the road side as a project. So by name, we are one of the projects that came out of
okay,
the Transportation Committee.
okay.
That brings us to just the water improvement project, since we're
Yes.
talking about big
Since
projects.
Since we're at that, have we rebid that yet, or what
No,
do we do?
we're waiting for the engineer to get that on the street, but we've had a meeting and we've approved the statement, and we're gonna, again, in person, send that to individual contractors, that same 17 contractor list. Because a lot of those guys are the guys that the engineers were talking to that had availability. So,
And hope that they'll have
and hope that
availability
they'll
to do
have, and
something.
we're looking at getting those bids back by the end of September. And having something at either at your second meeting, or we may need a special meeting the last week of September to award that if we get bids.
And are we doing the hydrant
We are.
installation?
We
And
are.
are we buying the pipe?
We are not buying the pipe yet. Pipe pricing is coming down. So
Okay.
we have hesitated on the pipe purchase because don't want to buy it too early
Right.
because it is coming down. So
Okay.
we're gonna wait.
Alrighty. Does that cover it?
I
Guys have
don't, I'd
anything
just
for
like to
us?
add one thing. I don't think we will get into the river and get the actual crossing, because we had talked about potentially starting that.
Mhm.
I think with the end of September, by the time we get the contract signed and get everything done, the only thing that we're gonna be able to do this year are the 2 hydrants.
And that's all we need.
And that's all we
Just
need.
a backup
Yep.
plan
Yep.
in case Armageddon hits.
Yeah, and then we can get the contract signed, have a start date in the spring, be first on their list instead of last, and get the work done in the
Yeah.
spring,
Mhm.
as soon as the weather allows.
And the easement we have is still, will be good then.
The easement is still good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alrighty. You guys have anything else for us? No? Okay, thank you very much. Do we have anything else on here that we need to?
Not for.
Oh, thank you, Jim. I love where the sign is. I understand it took a bit of a,
Yeah.
Did you see the picture?
I haven't seen the picture, but I feel I'm obligated to bring you guys a couple boxes of donuts or something.
Which sign are we talking about?
They moved that sign that had a map, the new map.
yes.
now
Yeah,
by the-
yes.
By the entrance to the
Yes,
library,
they
it was,
Okay.
It was supposed to be an hour. It took a
Yeah.
day.
Yeah. An hour's job turned into
Right.
almost a day.
because we are,
For the backhoe.
we are the granite state.
Yes, we are.
Maybe there was a reason why they put it in.
Yeah.
It might have been.
Yeah, I think they
Right.
found the easiest place to put it.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, calendar review. I have a conflict again
So do I.
on the next meeting
Me
on
too.
the 8th. Is there anything we can do to move that meeting? I can do it in the morning.
I'm not around at all.
Okay,
Let's see.
afternoon,
Nope, I'm not in town. I'm out of
next
town.
day.
Nope,
Let's see. Day before?
nope. 3 down, kitty car
You
off
seem,
the
you- all
block.
right, you seem to have the most.
I'm going away that week.
Oh, the whole
I'm not
week.
here.
So,
Okay,
I'm here Monday of that week, but that's Labor Day and that's next
Right.
Monday. So I don't think we'll have much to do
No.
the next 3 days.
so do you want to move it to the 15th?
I'm not around the
Shift
15th.
those to,
15th isn't gonna work either.
okay,
It's not gonna work for you and it's not gonna work for me because that's when they have the hospital benefit
Okay.
tournament.
Oh, I'm
Yeah.
not playing. No one asked me to play that.
Well, no one's asked me yet
Oh,
either, but I'm getting ready to, so, yeah. You're gonna be off at the outing. It's the same day.
I could do that Monday.
Monday.
13th.
Yeah.
The
I'm good.
13th.
Time?
I would prefer it earlier in the day on a Monday.
Okay. Let me just do a quick peek at the calendar here. Should we do another 10 o'clock? Does that work? Do you want to do it earlier? Like
But 10 o'clock's fine.
10 o'clock on the 13th? So just to be clear for everyone watching, our next regular meeting is going to be Monday, September 13th at 10 o'clock in the morning. We will have YouTube available to watch the meeting and we'll record it at that time. Planning board regular meeting, September 9th.
yes,
Yeah.
at 8 AM.
Just curious, what's the status? What happened at the last meeting? Was that the planned project approved or?
It was the new development
Right.
Green
by
Peak.
Tyrell Green Peak.
Mhm.
It was approved.
Okay,
So
so they're planning on putting shovels in the ground soon?
that was their plan, and to do all 3 at once, but
We are working on the subdivider improvement agreement
right.
now. Yeah.
Okay. Okay,
So that, yeah, and there was another issue that came out, but that comes under, it's a about masks at meetings. We can talk about that
Okay.
separately if you'd like.
Concerns.
The New
Yes,
Hampshire,
that's how I was gonna bring it up.
the New Hampshire Run for the Fallen,
Yeah.
that's going to be on the 18th.
18th, beginning at 9 AM on the field by the ice arena.
Who's
Planning-
hosting Ray Brewer?
Ray Brewer. I don't know if he's gonna be here or not.
He's gonna be here.
Planning is going very well. Signs are on order. All of the coordination with New Hampshire DOT, the Forest Service has been started. We're just waiting for the permit back. I haven't heard anything, Chief, have you? I still don't have a budget for you because all of the water was donated for the event. So I'm waiting for a price for the soda and the price on the signs. We
Okay.
need to get something back, but it's gonna be very low cost.
Yeah,
So,
all right.
And we still have a meeting on the 8th.
and the 8th,
The 8th was.
yes, the 8th was
Penciled
the
in.
next Zoom meeting with the committee. Yeah.
Okay. Revenue review.
Yep, this is your
Yeah.
annual review.
Right, I've got
go
some questions to your adjustments.
Sure.
Could take a while.
No, that's what we're here for. They were adjustments, not mine.
Okay, on building permits.
Yeah.
You're only going up roughly $1,000 from what we have in already. Meaning we've got 35,172 and you're adjusting the budget to 36,1.
No, we're current building permits, current budget is 15,000.
Right, but we're at 35,172 year to date.
Yes,
And you're looking to raise the budget only to 36,1 for the year.
okay,
I think you could put more on that. I think you're gonna have more building permits done as
Well-
people are getting.
well, yeah, the ones that we already have collected the 35, like you
Right.
said, okay? But we really don't know how many additional building permits we're going to get.
Yeah,
And you can adjust the revenues again
okay,
at tax rate setting. If
All right,
if we were to
yeah.
get like the Green Peak and we had a $10,000.
well, that's what I'm thinking. I'm
Building
thinking
permit?
they're gonna pull their
Well,
permits to get that in the ground.
I
And I think 1,000 is naive.
well, no, it's ultra conservative.
Yeah, okay.
I didn't
Tomato,
wanna go out-
potato.
I know, I didn't want to go.
Okay,
way
no,
out
no,
on a limb,
don't worry about it. I just thought I'd bring it up.
But I think if they do it before October, you definitely can. And you could always, if we collected a whole bunch more money, you could give that back in fund balance in 22.
Mhm.
It isn't like we're locked in to
Okay,
keep it.
then while we got public safety here, the public safety adjustments down, do you think those are warranted, chief?
Which particular,
We're coming way down on, a couple things, special details, Forest Service.
Ambulance
Ambulance
usage was
fees.
the big one.
Ambulance fees can be adjusted because you kind of get an idea of, you've spoken to them, you know what's coming in, you know what they're gonna pay this year. So that's kind of a rolling statutory number. You
Okay.
know it's there and it changes, it's all when you're gonna get it. So that one doesn't concern me that much.
There aren't many special details scheduled. right
Well,
now.
we've got the race, we've got the race coming up, we've got for the Fallen. We've got the Columbus Day stuff.
Which is what the
Okay, so that's already in-
$2,700 is in there
Okay, fine.
as estimated to
Then,
collect.
while you're here, Dylan, water sewer charges, we're way down on that and we're adjusting that down, that we're gonna get less revenue.
There was a miscalculation in the $306,000 number
Okay,
with the percentage. So if you see the sewer is going way up.
Mhm.
So we put the numbers in our
Okay.
calculations in the wrong department, so we're adjusting.
all right, that
those.
makes sense.
Okay.
All right, then over here, we've got 43,000 in miscellaneous revenue from the town.
Yep, we received a return of premium, remember, from
Okay,
health insurance, from Health Trust.
Okay,
And we did not, you only took a portion of that and applied it
okay.
to a specific purpose. So
All right,
that
cool.
gave us more.
That's all I had on that.
I thought what was noticeable was the rec department
Yeah.
adjusted.
Yeah, that's
50%.
39,000.
Right, but
More than
that's,
50%.
we've already, historically, we've already seen that in here.
Yeah,
Yeah, she did.
Okay,
Right.
so total adjustment is $128,000.
Yeah, it represents, what did I say, 38 cents on the tax rate, so that's.
Bless you.
especially this year.
Yeah,
38 cents down.
down 38. This would take our rate down 38 cents.
Potentially a little bit
than what
more.
we-
We get more,
Yeah, and potentially more
More.
if we
building.
if we
permits.
receive the.
Do you need a vote on this?
Yes, I would like, and then what we will do is prepare the MS 434 and let you know by email and have you come in and sign it because we have to upload it to the state site.
Okay, so we make a proposal that we accept the adjustment in $128,000
Two
and
revenues.
$128,142 to our estimated revenue.
Mhm.
Can I have a second on that?
I will second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, we have a signed permit application for our annual ski sale, tent sale.
Yeah, this is the annual.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Mhm.
So the
Wait.
motion would be to just approve it and have me sign the form if you. want.
I move that we approve the application by Sportoma to place roadside signs for the tent sale.
I'll second.
All of those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Rich, you want to put together yet another working group?
Yeah, I only worked for the federal government for 40 years, so this is where good ideas go to die, right? But not this one, I hope. No, we had discussed a number of times about the need to revise our on-street parking ordinance. And we had intended to do it for the past town meeting, but we got busy with other things. And
Mhm.
at the last discussion, we said, yes, we'll get something together to put something in front of the town for the 2022 meeting. So in talking to some people about it, including Mark, I thought it would be a good idea for perhaps Mark, me, and Jim to sit down and just investigate what it is we have going on, perhaps public safety
Works for
as
me.
well.
Yeah,
Yeah, and then,
I would have public safety involved in that.
yeah, that all makes sense. And just to go over,
Yeah.
you know, what things are looking like.
what the current state.
What the current state is, and then,
Some recommendations. because
Recommendations,
That way,
yeah.
if we have things that are out there on a map.
right,
Then you can talk through and then you can say as a board, well, we should have, what about this area? Or, wow, I didn't think about that spot, you know, and so we can just do a first draft and then you guys can review it. I think it's a good starting point.
yeah.
Okay,
And I think at some point, the planning board would be interested
In the
in,
planning board.
and if we have time, you might want to do something like survey the public.
oh, no, I think we
Well,
would,
that will
Yes.
be, once you guys have an idea of
Mhm.
what you're looking
Yeah.
at, then definitely we need to start the
public
public
hearings
discussion.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I was even thinking of
during our
during
research.
your research,
phase.
you know, here's what we have right now. We're going to be putting together. Do you have any suggestions about where
Yeah.
on-street
Well,
parking
there are
should
a
be
lot
or
of
should
suggestions
not?
out
be?
there already.
I'm
yeah.
certainly
there?
be amenable to having a meeting, you know, scheduling time for the public to come in and talk to
Right.
the working group.
And
Right.
another suggestion I would make is once you guys have your formula together,
Yeah,
you meet with Tyrell
Yes.
and
Good
see
idea.
where their plan is going to be and see if their plan can either alleviate or aggravate what you're thinking
Right.
before you bring the public in.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I mean, I would see the working group as documenting what currently exists, making some recommendations and contacting interested parties to find out what they're,
Interested in.
Mhm.
No, I think that all makes a lot of, sense. And
Absolutely. And we should do it pretty quickly.
yeah, I was about to
because
say
I
timing.
think coming back at the September 13th meeting
Mhm,
with a draft is reasonable. That gives us 3 weeks to
okay,
work through
Yes, I'm
stuff.
fine.
we'll have at it and have fun. Okay. All right. We already talked about the road engineering contract, short-term rental implementation.
Well, do we have to make a motion to sign the road contract or?
Yeah, I would like it to be ratified. I mean, we did.
This
discuss
is,
it. This
the
is
thing with
extra
HEB.
engineering. Yeah.
HEB to do the,
Yeah, I provided you with a copy of the contract there, so. And they are working on it.
Yeah.
They-
I'll make a motion to accept the contract from HEB and ratify it by the Board of Selectmen.
I will second that motion.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And just so folks understand, this is a sum of $38,000 for the purpose of engineering the road from Village Road out to the intersection of Snowsbrook.
It actually goes it connects both ends of
Okay.
Village Road.
Village Road,
Yeah.
okay, so
Snowsbrook and-
starting
A little bit of
at-
Valley, yeah.
the part that has already been engineered on Snowsbrook and proceeding all the way around to the other end of
Village.
Village Road across from the golf course sign.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Great. Short-term rental implementation.
Yeah, so several months ago, you approved the drafts of our new zoning permit application that included the short-term rental portions.
Right.
With the transition in public safety, that kind of got put in the back burner. So we have not notified anyone at this point.
Okay,
Dave has also, since he became the code enforcement officer, has been looking at the building permit application and would like to modify some of the things on that to streamline the smaller permit applications to be done online, et cetera. So we request an extension instead of 1 September and November 1st
Okay.
implementation. So,
okay. It's fine with me.
okay, and we will send that notice out no later than the end of September. We'll get it out during September, which will be, here's what's coming. Effective date is 1 November. If you have
Yeah,
questions.
If we can get it in with the public safety issue of the
Yeah.
water bill,
Absolutely,
and do it in a really bright color,
exactly.
so people don't think it's.
Bright, hot pink.
Okay.
Yep.
Board concerns and directives.
Yeah, there was one issue that came up at the planning board meeting. Wendy and several other members of the planning board expressed concern, the number of people who attended our most recent meeting and the size of the room and the current situation with regard to the uptick in COVID cases. And she asked that the select board, Wendy, the chair, asked if the select board would consider giving her the power as the chair of the planning board to mandate masks if necessary. However, there's an issue with this. I want to turn it over to Mark now because you actually talked to council about
Yes.
how we have to proceed here prior to such a mandate if we were to go that route.
Yeah,
For the-
town council's recommendation is before implementing the mask mandatory in public buildings.
Not just planning board meeting,
Right,
but
ju-
the,
right. So
Right.
first of all, it would have to be applied to the building in all public buildings
And all public
in,
meetings.
in umbrella and all public meetings.
So it couldn't
So
be
you
applied
can't-
to just this
You can't
conference
just
room.
apply, you can't pick and choose. Okay, so here, his recommendation is that you not pick and choose
Until we have to.
Until you have to. And number two, before issuing a mandate like that, his recommendation is that you try to find other alternatives. So really the mask mandates are coming from places where people cannot be properly socially distanced in most cases. So his recommendation would be try to find a venue where people could spread out more and then recommend masks, but not mandate them. In a place like, I've contacted Tim Smith, and midweek or during the weekdays, most of the time the conference center is available. So moving over to a larger meeting room over at the conference center, then we could spread people out and have a mask recommended policy is what town council is.
Yeah, no, I get you. I understand you have to go all in or none at all.
All in or none at all, and try to find alternatives before. And that way, when someone comes to you and says, I don't want to wear a mask, you have these things to fall back on.
Why wouldn't you just fall back on Zoom?
Because you can't by state law.
We have to have a
Zoom,
quorum,
You have to have a quorum
first for,
present
right.
and voted
Emergency law
before you
was-
can go to.
And now we have all this stuff where we don't have the technology to move it.
And we can't move, everything
Yeah.
is locked into this room.
Well, it
So
could be moved, but the
it could be
chance of it
moved,
not
but
working is.
that's-
So what's a quorum for the planning board?
for.
for.
4. So couldn't Wendy make a decision that,
But the problem is when you have the quorum in the room,
yeah,
the public has to have access to that room in whatever numbers show up.
So you could exceed what
So
some
you could
people,
have 30 people sitting in here.
which
with
is,
the
we
four
had
people,
quite a large,
which was the,
Right.
I mean, we didn't have
But-
30.
no, but we had,
We had
and also
15.
there were several planning board members who expressed concern, and it may be difficult to get a
To get a
quorum.
quorum together.
Can you request, can we go, and we might have to go to this eventually and sooner than later.
Mhm.
Request what some of the private merchants are doing, that if you are not vaccinated, we are requesting you to wear masks. We are not mandating, you're not
Yes.
gonna be thrown out, you're not gonna be
That's right.
chastised.
That's
or
okay.
anything.
That's pretty much
really
what we're doing
we do
now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know, but I think we have to have it in big, broad letters somewhere too. So
Right.
we are understanding that we are paying attention to all sides of the issue.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that was,
See, we're at that, we're on the precipice of something, but we're not.
We don't know what it is yet.
Yeah,
no, I agree with that, because there's the larger issue. I think you had mentioned,
right.
just to digress slightly, but you had
Right.
mentioned, been talking to some
I-
merchants about,
I've talked to some merchants in town that are asking us to come up with a mask policy that requires masks in their building. And I've talked to other merchants who tell us they'll kill me if we come up with, well, not kill me, but they would not be happy with the policy. So we've got a tough situation here.
It is, and it's made tougher by the fact that there's no emergency order.
There's no
giving
guidance.
you. Well, there's no guidance, but there's also no authority
Right.
for you to mandate, written.
outside of public.
Authority, outside of the public buildings.
buildings.
There's no authority for you to do anything on private property.
No, it's,
So
because the emergency
because
order
the
is gone.
emergency
Have
orders
lapsed,
are all
yes.
gone and.
I think we need to remain silent on this with, just that courtesy question. If you are not vaccinated, we would appreciate it if you wear a mask.
Chief, do you have anything to add or anything wrong with what we're saying?
No, I think that's fine, what Mike recommended, it's a recommendation, and we're not mandating anything. And, really falling back onto the person for, personal responsibility is putting it on each person to make their own decisions, really.
And I think we have to be very careful that we not question anybody. I mean, the policy.
Oh, yeah,
can
you don't
be-
have to provide a
recommend- yeah, you're not-
vaccination
You can't.
coupon. It's
Show me your card.
Yeah, no. we're not
Nothing like
gonna-
that.
We can't go there.
No.
So with regard to the planning board chair's request, I think the response then, if I'm listening correctly, is perhaps if there's a concern for a particular meeting, consider moving it over to the conference center and having a meeting there.
Yeah, I guess so. That seems really,
Well, one of the reasons.
but how do you know your meeting is going to be?
Well, that's.
Needed until everybody shows up.
Yeah.
And then you're gonna deny the people who want to see it on YouTube.
Well, she can
and
be
live.
preemptive. She can be preemptive and say, I am moving the meeting.
Right.
And the only way, I mean, we can take a laptop over there.
Oh, no, I
They have
got you
Wi-Fi.
and all that.
But it won't be the extensive what we have here.
And it'd be topic driven too. It's not that we often get a lot of people.
Yeah,
Because
but you never know until someone shows up.
Because
That's true.
the discussion with the planning board members that had concerns was because of the large number of people that were in
Right.
here.
Right.
And so a regular planning board meeting, they had one last week and no one said
Yeah.
anything. No one
No,
had masks on and no one said anything. It's when there's a
Yeah.
large number.
I think it was just, they were waiting. I think I
If
told them
there's a
that
public
we would
hearing,
discuss it today.
if there's a project being
We think that will,
and
yeah,
that we
you can
think we're gonna
preempt.
bring in, preempt it
Yeah.
and go over to the
Right.
conference center and spread out.
No,
Yeah, no, it's.
I'm bringing the request to
Yeah, no, it's.
to the board. I
yeah.
think
I think it's
recommending
fine.
masks. is
Whatever
fine.
anybody wants to do is fine. You know, it's.
You're gonna
it's-
do
Well,
it
except
anyway.
mandating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't have a
And Judy.
problem with, I don't have a problem with doing what a lot of the businesses have done and said, if you're fully vaccinated, mask not required, recommended for those who are not. fully
Exactly,
vaccinated.
that's all we can do.
That's all you can do.
All right,
And I don't mind having that in all our public buildings.
Yeah,
all right.
and that's an example.
And so if the planning board feels it wants to move, it'll just, if
If
it wants more space for
Of
whatever.
course.
Right.
As if with us, if
Right.
we had something which was gonna be topical and we got a big crowd, we wouldn't be able to fit them in here anyway.
Right.
Right.
I can't think of anything that would happen, but.
It hasn't happened in
Yeah.
over a year or so.
Or 15.
Yeah,
And let's hope it stays that way.
except for town meeting.
Yeah,
And we move that somewhere else.
it only means
All
that
right.
angry people are here.
Okay,
Okay. Any
All right,
other?
Thank you.
Any other board concerns and directives? Okay, we talked about the Lakes Region Mutual Fire Aid Letter, which we need to come in and sign.
yeah, I'll print it on letterhead, and
Okay,
let you know when it's ready.
okay. And they're fixing the condenser.
Yes, the condenser at the ice arena is gonna be replaced on the 8th. That will be a large crane and a lot of construction equipment at the back of the arena. This is one of their planned improvements that they were gonna make, so. I think it's a good sign that they're moving
Yeah.
forward with it.
Yeah.
So
Shows commitment.
they're showing commitment and viability because they.
Well, yeah, there is that too,
paid
isn't
for
there?
it, right?
Yeah, the thanks.
So somehow, that's going to happen.
All right. Anything else before we go into non-public?
Yeah, can I just mention the numbers in case people have seen the numbers, percentages of vaccination?
Oh, did you get
Yes,
that?
Yeah,
yes,
that
please
was-
do. I mean,
So-
this is really strange.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Littleton too, it made no sense. It was just-
Littleton and Waterville Valley were the only two towns.
So
that were
Littleton like
100.
has 6,000
Yeah.
plus people.
So
and
the
We're
the
1/10
town
of that.
manager in Littleton and his fire chief are trying to find out why in the world their information was suppressed. Right now, Health and Human Services refuses to give us a percentage. You saw in the packet that I've asked
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah.
again for,
Yeah.
some
Yeah.
reasoning so
Yeah.
that, we have something to tell people, but,
I know they
We
make
have
sense
no
to me.
idea.
It's like 99.9%, and then we're all gonna go hunting for the one person.
right,
Or gonna
Yeah,
find
that's-
out who the one or two or three people are. That's the only thing I could,
yeah.
that's not someone come up with some other reason.
And the
It
only
makes-
other thing I can think
Yeah.
of is people who had a second home and an address in Waterville Valley, and that's what they reported, but they really lived in Massachusetts full-time. I
Yeah,
don't
but
know
they
if
didn't say
have a
give that
way
as
of
the
No, I
reason.
don't think
That's-
so. What,
Yeah.
the other thing that
Yeah.
bothered me was on that map, they have
Yes.
us down as a town
less than
under
100 people.
Yeah.
people. And so we also need to
Hello.
talk to Health and Human Services.
Hello.
about, Hi, we have 600.
We have
so,
600.
And there were a lot of towns
Yeah,
less.
so you
than
don't have the
us.
numbers.
We still,
Okay.
they won't
All
give
right,
us the number.
For
So,
some
Yeah.
Who knows?
well,
Reasons
unex-
we do not understand.
inexplicable reason to us.
okay,
So
yeah,
hopefully we'll get a response back from HHS.
Okay.
I'm gonna take the positive interpretation and that's
Yes.
just, but everybody is.
That's
And if
right.
were we to find out, if we realize maybe just one or two,
Then
And we
there'd be
go
a
look
witch
and
hunt.
hunt them down.
There'd be a
There'd be a
witch hunt, yes, yeah, okay. All righty, so I guess we're ready to go into non-public at,
Yeah, I can't think of
11:19.
anything else. All right, thank you.
thank y'all.
thank you.
You want me to stay?
Yeah, why don't you stay for some, please?